Hello, everybody. Reflux. Oh boy, this one's a very specific kind of thing. So, uh, this one's called Lance Masks. The
It's
n, the n
that
is
pretty much
important.
sums up the whole show.
Hmm.
There's Lance, the guy that wears a mask.
It's like, hey, you know that whole tuxedo mask thing from Sailor Moon? Think that if it was done once we figured out, hey, that whole super chivalrous thing is kind of creepy in modern day. Yeah. So that's where this one comes from. And yeah. It yeah. Okay. So this one opens with there is a dude and he's hungry. There is also a little girl who is admittedly adorable, though this is an anime, and it kind of dreading the moment when they make her not adorable and try to make her something else, and I'm going to feel very uncomfortable. But
You mean second one of the ending cuts or ending animatic thing?
and I'm suddenly happy that I don't watch those. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
There's a lot. Like I was at double speed and it was like 5 seconds of this weirdly sexual shot of her lips.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
So aside from that, she is. Yes, I just said the thing that we say in the podcast all the time. Aside from that, she is adorable and is all gung ho about doing all of the kid things on the playground, of you know, running around and climbing all of the things basically. And she tries to climb a surprisingly tall mountain because, like, you look at it in the first shot and it's like maybe 10 feet tall. It's like, all right, fair enough, kid doing the climbing thing, cool. And then she falls off it, and suddenly it's like 100 foot tall, and she gonna die. Which was a
yeah,
little,
no question. She would just go splat. I mean, that's
yeah,
that's definitely fatal distance.
yeah. So this kid is apparently braver than I first thought, or time and space just warped to make her about to die. I guess. Either way,
I mean, you could argue that's probably her perspective, but then, I mean, the hero had enough time to do all the things about to do. So,
yeah. So he hears her scream and immediately rushes to her aid, putting on a mask. And okay, putting on the mask is a little weird. I'm going to say that up front. But also, why did he get his lance out? There is a good 10 seconds here of him running up and taking the giant cloth off of his lance and jumping up with it pointed foot forward towards the girl, where I thought, holy shit, this dude is literally about to just kill a little girl.
yeah, I mean,
The explanation is pretty much given. Everything there is reflexive.
so I guess he's just getting into his baseline hero outfit.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. So he uh, grabs hold of her, catches her, and drops to the ground, and then says something along the lines of, "Are you unharmed, milady?" The milady is important. She doesn't
Yeah,
actually say. He says "lady" every time, not "my lady," but whatever. And then he kisses her hand. And it's a little bit creepy.
I think that's more the camera's fault than the actual like event itself.
Quite possibly. I mean, It's not great in general because this is pretty clearly a generally modern setting. Aside from that whole Knights of the World thing, that's really just kind of anachronistic and weird. But aside from that, pretty modern setting. And yeah, so we get the opening credits that is all about the little girl. Didn't tell me a good goddamn thing about this show, but the little girl still continues to be cute.
Yeah, I mean, we get a bit more about her personality based on just the different shots we see in the opening, so that was kind of cool.
And it has an anime opening song, so that's all right, fair enough. And we get a bit of backstory on this dude, and he gets knighted as a nice dude, as a knight dude. Sorry, it's just that was a Freudian slip of yeah, he's a nice guy, quote unquote. That's great. So after he goes through the ceremony and stuff, he comes outside and hides behind a wall, and the lady of the knights, whose name I didn't get, comes out and is like, "Hey, your dad was a knight and stuff, I guess." I think. I can't really remember what happened in the scene other than she gave him the mask for some reason.
Basically, you'll be a great knight just like your dad.
And said father is out of the picture, the first one chosen by a legendary lance in some odd years. Too busy to attend his only son's knighting.
Yeah, I do remember the flashback of his dad leaving, and it literally is just Dragon Ball Z abridged Goku going, "Bye, son." that's
Also, he looks like a 20-year-old. Like he looks like Kirito. Is this just an anime where no one ages over 16?
yeah. It also has the same voice actor, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So after the knighting ceremony, there is just a random group of dudes trying to get with a teenage girl, as you know, it's anime Japan, I guess, or anime country of place that isn't Japan but is totally Japan. And they get aggressive, and this guy shows up, and they mock him for trying to be a knight in shining armor or something along those lines. And he shoves a lance in the face, and their bravado vanishes, and they run away. And then he does the same routine as he did with the little girl, and she takes it significantly less well, because she's old enough to know how creepy it is when he kisses her hand. This is probably one of the very few examples of a girl calling a guy a pervert that I actually 100% agree with in anime. It's just
I wouldn't go as far as pervert. Weirdo, certainly.
It
but
is the same word, but yes, in Japan,
it is?
Japan, it's hentai either way. So
fair enough then. Okay, yeah,
that might be a translation convention in this case, but yeah, this does not look great in general, and the anachronism makes it weirder. And then he explains what happened is all of his instincts just come to the fore when he hears a woman in trouble, and he literally calls it his white knight syndrome.
Yep.
Ooh boy. So I feel like they know what they're doing with this show, which I don't know whether that makes it better or not, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So we return to the current moment of, he saves the little girl. She takes it much better than the teenage girl did because she doesn't know what sex is yet. I hope it is anime. So yeah. And she thinks he's a hero, and then he runs away to save other people, probably, and really he's just hiding behind a wall so he can take off his mask and stuff. She chases after him, doesn't recognize him, despite the giant, unmistakable lance.
Which he immediately bundles into his cape, even.
Yeah. And, she invites him home, which is strange until you get the circumstances behind it, which actually make a little bit more sense. She invites him to a house because he's hungry. The maid is kind of not okay with it for reasonable reasons. Strange dude being brought into the house by a little girl who doesn't know any better. But they feed.
Aside from putting up a bit of a fuss, I don't think she actually protests or says no or tries to say no at all.
Not really, no.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of exposition that the maids are leaving, and something happened that the maid is concerned about telling the little girl. Which I don't think it got resolved in this episode. I think that was something that they were leaving for a future episode. In any case, he falls asleep and has this little flashback about his dad, I think, at this point. He wakes up and the little girl is in his bed. And, yep. This show is going to go there at some point. I know it is.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They're telegraphing it pretty hard. And I do like that the only girl that can, sort of accept his, let's call them eccentricities, is the little girl that is still stuck in fantasies of heroes, and actual women don't actually want that shit. I appreciate that, except for the part where the little girl is into it. That part makes it still weird. But, yeah. So the maid comes in, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing in the bed with my, 8-year-old charge? And the little girl is like, oh, we should have invited you too if you're staying over. Yep.
Yeah. Innocence is fun, but I'm so glad they didn't really linger on this for very long.
Yeah. Okay. The part where he was uncomfortable, I get. Why was he still in the bed with her? I mean, it's probably...
it's
going there. It's going there.
Well, yeah. If this show was for anything but tiny children, I think it would be classed as grooming anime.
I feel like there's some crossover there that they're okay with, but yeah. So there is another eating scene. We see the maids that left yesterday, so my assumption that the thing that the head maid couldn't tell the little girl was that all the maids quit and they were broke or something turned out to not be true. Well, fair enough. And we learn that the little girl lives there alone. Her parents suck. And are kind of assholes because they deliberately order that no one is allowed to be friends with her.
Okay, not quite. first of all, the mother is dead.
All right, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And second of all, the father is out of the picture. Yo- Yotaro assumes that it was the father who gave the orders, and I suppose we're left to assume that as well, but it's not outright confirmed for whatever little that's worth.
Hmm.
I mean, wouldn't he be the only one with the power to order the maids to do that?
Ostensibly, but then we get a little hint at something else going on.
Hmm. So then after that, yeah, I think this leads right into hired goons show up.
Little girl invites him to her room and shows off.
Oh yeah, that happened too. Yeah. Drawings of different heroes that one presumes she imagined, and then she also has a drawing of Knight Lancer, which is him. That he's totally thrilled by, it's facetious, it didn't really come off. Yeah, he's a little uncomfortable about that. But downstairs, hired goons show up. Simpsons style, like just dark suits and just gigantic dude and stuff, and yeah.
Like, gigantic dude. He's like the size of 2 people.
Yeah.
And they just walk in, no security of any form.
Yeah.
On a rich, beyond rich heiress's house.
Yeah, this is a holding that's apparently measured in acres. So you would think they would have some sort of security system, like cameras, since this is modern, or like an alarm system or something, but no, just can walk in from the street.
And break down the door.
Yeah. I feel like that was more for effect, though. But the maid is there, and she's like, "Hey, you can't do that." And the goons are like, "Oh, hey, it's you. You could probably help us to take the little girl that we're here to take." It's weird.
Like I said, might not have been the father. There might be something else going on there.
Then the little girl shows up and runs in front of the maid protectively because the maid was like, "No, I'm not gonna." That doesn't go very well because the gigantic dude just grabs her by the arm and lifts her into the air by it, which would probably hurt. Just gonna.
She does wince pretty hard, and they focus on that. So they are paying. They don't just ignore the fact that would really hurt.
And she's like, "A hero always wins or saves the day," or something like that. Hero line. And Knight Lancer shows up, just sort of knocks all 3 of them out of the house, onto the lawn. Kind of mediocre to poor fight scene occurs.
I made the mistake of watching a video called "I Hate Giant Swords, but I Love the Dragon Slayer," and the gist of the video was basically, unlike most anime, Berserk treated a giant weapon like a giant weapon. It had weight, and it was hard to swing. This guy is he's just batting around a lance that probably weighs more than he does, like it's made of plastic. And it annoyed me.
The whole way doesn't look like it's large enough for him to be swinging it around like he does.
No, the environment pretty much changes to be whatever size it needs to be so he can fight in it.
Yeah, I had like visions in my head of, oh cool, they're gonna do like the goons are like, "Oh, that weapon's ridiculous, you can't use something like that in a small space like this," and then he just fucking million stabs him. That would have been cool. Didn't do that, but
no, he kind of swung it like a baseball bat and then kicked someone by planting it in the ground.
Just generally not how you use a lance in any way, but
not really. It's not ineffective to use it that way, but yeah.
So yeah, the giant dude grabs hold of the lance, and Knight Lancer just sort of lifts the lance and tosses him over his shoulder, which, again, like Slicer said, this thing probably weighs more than he does, so lifting that dude on top of it doesn't actually seem like that much of a stretch. And the dudes run away. The goons, sorry, not dudes. Dudes are another thing. The hired goons, you have to call them as such. They run away, and Knight Lancer does the thing, the kissing the hand thing. Still creepy. And then runs away to save other people, and then Yotaro's back. Woo. His name's Yotaro, by the way. That's pretty much the end of the episode, I think. I can't remember anything else. Was there anything else?
I think that was it.
Oh no, we're forgetting the side plot.
Oh, right. Yeah. I guess the knight has some what is implied to be his friends, I guess.
Right. We completely missed that. Okay. Yeah. So while all of this other stuff was going on with the little kid in the mansion, there is a woman and a horse, well, a girl and a horse, really, that are trying to find him, and the girl is being really insistent about it to the horse, to the point where the horse enters, what's the word for animal treated like a human? An anthropomorphized, sorry, I just completely got it at the same time you told me. Anthropomorphized form of a white-haired little girl, and they have an extended chibi anime fight scene of, I'm not gonna do the thing, you're gonna, no, I'm not gonna, you're gonna, I'm not gonna. It goes on for a little while, and then Maid shows up, and they are both suddenly very buddy-buddy, and just go on with what they were doing. Yay.
Because the human version of the white horse only appears in scenes where the art style changes like that, I don't know if she's an actual character that can do that, or if that's just the internalization.
I think it's just a motif.
Yeah.
I will say that was legitimately funny. Just the dynamic that those three had going on was amusing.
Yeah, I've seen worse. Yeah. Like, the maid didn't really do anything, so that was just, that's a thing. That's a, hey, we're doing that trope, but the other two was actually kind of okay. And very unique. And then at the end of the episode, they show up and are like, hey, and he's like, oh shit, and that's the end of the episode.
I'm not sure what to make of this show. I don't dislike it, but yeah. The premise is deliberately uncomfortable, and I don't know what they're planning to do with it.
Yeah, I don't think they put enough effort into this to be able to have it be one of those subversive anime. I think the world is going to go along with Night Guy.
Yeah.
And things would just kind of work out, like the little girl finding him to be the most badass thing on the planet, while the actual teenage girl was like, "That's what the fuck."
I still kind of appreciate that moment though.
I really do.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up something earlier that I'd completely forgotten, and I'm to the point where I'm not sure it's actually true that this is just a kid show. Because this has some themes for a kid show. I don't know.
I thought that's what we found out last time, was that it was a kids show.
Yeah, like, I do remember that. So,
or I'm not sure if that was something we found or something we just labeled it as.
Or it might have just been something said in the comments.
Yeah.
Which says more about the commenters, maybe. I don't know.
But, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm overthinking this anime or if it is actually that straightforward. And they're not. They're going to play it completely straight.
I mean, when they literally called out White Knight Syndrome...
Well, there's a lot of animated movies these days that throw in a bunch of adult stuff for the parents. And so that could have been a tongue-in-cheek joke toward the older audience that may or may not see this.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's just boring. And I worry about which direction this is going to go into uncomfortable territory.
This is a solid 4 on the creepiness scale, and you really don't want to go much higher than a 3. Especially, like, you don't want to go over a 2 when the fucking literally 8-year-old girl is central to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is just... It's a soft but it's a
That, I believe that sums it up pretty perfectly. Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, next.
Slicey, are you going to roll for us?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. All right. It's between 1 and 120, or 1 and 25 for the first roll.
26.
23.
23. X.
Go and give it
We
to
have
you.
5 choices left for this category.
5? Okay. 5.
X-Men is probably one of them. Oh, sorry, was that the roll?
Yeah, that was the roll. 5.
Oh.
I am not sure how to pronounce this one.
Zhang B. Lian? I think. I know Zhang is the first word.
Zhang? I'm not seeing it on the site we usually... Oh, there it is. Yeah. Chongbin Leon. There we go. So, summary for this one. Oh shit, that's long. Okay. Sun goddess of the Solari, Leona, came to Earth in 2014. The genetics of God hidden on Earth has started to awaken. Oh my god, it's Evangelion. The first few awakenings include the power of the galaxy and God of War. It's Evangelion crossed with God of War. Is Kratos gonna murder Shinji? I'm kind of okay with this. That's alright. An invasion by the alien Tau T. I want to say that. That's how that's pronounced. Just to entertain death god Karthus, are on the way to Earth. The angels, the devils, and God seminary groups that have been monitoring the genetics of God on Earth make their moves. The God seminary assembled the scattered warriors across Earth who carry the genetics of God to form the Black Troops, Radiant Dawn. Leona, lead the team and train them combat techniques to fight against the invasion. Morgana, the fallen angel, came to Earth to sow the seed of darkness and plot to destroy the Holy Kale.
What?
Angel Yan was sent to Earth, informing the invasion of Styx Galaxy by Tauti. Earth has just become the battlefield for the war of different civilizations. As the disasters continue, the Black Troops will realize they are fighting more than what they are asked for. That is a lot of terms to just throw at us in a summary.
That was like the summary of a whole epilogue of episode.
I don't know how much of that I actually processed.
I know I processed none of it. There's a bunch of knights that are fighting angels, and that's about it.
Tauti is a persona. That's all I got from it.
That's true. That is. The first episode is 20 minutes and 15 seconds long, so it's
So that's
valid.
valid.
Yeah. I was almost hoping it wouldn't be because I'll tell you what I did get from that summary. They're trying to cram too many other shows into one all at once.
What I got
Yeah,
that from that summary was that was written by ESL. So yeah.
Yeah, this isn't even a full length anime. This is 6 episodes, and if every episode is 20 minutes, it's only 2 hours, like a movie.
I mean, it's a Chinese anime, so that's
Yeah.
how they do. But this might be the first instance where we get a better idea of the show from the comments than from the fucking actual summary.
Oh wow, there's a lot of comments.
Fucking Christ, this first one. Plot summary. In a world without synopsis, an elite force known as Otaku scour the web for information, contributing to a collective database in a desperate hope to understand an elusive and ubiquitous truth. What the fuck am I about to watch? Okay, apparently it's in CG.
Yeah, I could tell that based on just the picture.
And by the people that made Kwanjiga Show, the anime about the professional gamer that gets put to pasture and tries to fight his way back up the ranks and stuff, which is pretty good. So
there's actually a better plot summary slightly down by Wraithos. It's spaced properly, so it's a little easier to digest, but yeah.
It still says the same thing. I'm scanning it now, but yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's formatted better, so it's not just a block of text.
Yeah, I feel like even reading it formatted better is not going to tell us any more about the show than what we've... Oh boy. So, would anyone like to veto this one? Not knowing what it actually is?
I am far too curious to do that.
It's not bad enough for me to be willing to veto it.
How do you know?
I haven't seen enough Chinese anime to even have an opinion going into this.
How do I know?
5.
All I know is that it's not the sort of thing that I would go for vetoing immediately, which is enough for me.
Fair. Alright. So, Zhongbing Yan. Gonna go with that as the pronunciation for that. It doesn't have a translation. Oh, there it is. Other name. Transcend the Gods, the Black Troop.
Okay.
There we go. Sure. So, that's what we're doing next week. It's gonna be a thing. I hope it's interesting. I at least hope it's interesting. That's generally what I can hope for and usually, be satisfied by. Good is perhaps reaching for the stars, but interesting is fair.
Because it is a Chinese anime and we really don't get a lot of those, I think the newness factor alone will keep it entertaining.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're doing next week. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Rabbits.
There weren't even any rabbits in this one. How can you just...